Hey everyone, this is the last episode of Let's Play Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Darkness. I am PowerToMario, and I am with...
Fred.
I'm with... Oh, no!
My name is now Fred. No, Mega Freak 400, obviously. If you don't know that by this point, if you, either A, this is the first video of the project, which in that case, hello, and if not, and obviously otherwise you would have known who I am. But anyway, this is going to be the last video because we're doing Zero Island North and West. And we're going to start with Zero Island North. Now, Zero Island North is kind of different from everything else. This one, you don't actually get reduced to level 1. You actually stay at your current level, but you can't gain experience points. That's the catch.
Yes.
Now, can you bring items to this one?
I'm pretty sure you can. Yes, you can.
So pretty much...
I did not, though. I think I only brought the items that were already in my bag, so...
So, yeah, you can pretty much, with this one, you can, It's kind of hard, but I guess the biggest thing is you can't, you get, and you don't reduce your moveset either, so it's pretty much, you get everything that you currently have in the dungeon, but you can't level up. So for this one, this would actually be one of the easier ones, theoretically, because you could train up to get ready to get to level 90, and then at that point, you know, for the most part, it wouldn't be too difficult. It wouldn't be any different than any of the regular dungeons, you know what I mean?
But...
What's the but?
If I'm correct, the Pokemon are always going to be the same difficulty, I think. So that means that all the Pokemon you face are going to be similar to you.
That's not real different than any other dungeons we've faced. Like, most of them have kind of a similar difficulty level.
Yeah, but it's like progressive. Well, yeah.
I mean, there are Pokemon here that can be level 90, but I guess my thing is, I don't know, Zero Isle North, it is longer. It's 75 floors for Zero Isle North. And at the end of the dungeon, you can pick up 2 Wonder Gummies, and the Golden Mask, and Wonder Chest. But, for the most part, though, yeah, I don't feel like this dungeon... I feel like it's the most un-Zero Isle of the Zero Isles, because it does have... It's unique in its own right, but I don't feel like it's too much different than what we've experienced before, you know what I mean?
I suppose. This one was actually difficult for me, though.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying it's not, but I'm saying theoretically it shouldn't, because you don't have the whole level 1 thing. Though then again, because, you know, I guess it just varies, because as much as you can say, oh, well, you're a higher level, everyone else is too, and you saw how much that gave me trouble in Dark Crater, so, you know, they also have more powerful moves, so sometimes being level 1 and just slowly building up can be easier than starting off with all of this chaos. So I guess it varies. It just depends.
Yeah, it can be. Oh, one thing I discovered, you know, I discovered it just now as playing as these guys in North. You get your IQ skills that you inherited too throughout the game.
Yeah.
That stupid Rhydon.
Oh,
Hate that guy so much.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying, is you get pretty much... You get to go in with any moveset, so you get more control, whereas with, you know, the other ones, you're pretty much reset and you don't have any control. Here, you have a lot of control over what you can do when you go in. You can train... You can prepare for this one, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Whereas, like, the South, you pretty much just go in and just do it. Here, you can... Oh, there was a Ditto. Here, you can prepare. And I guess that's the one main difference, I'd say.
Yes. So, yeah. I guess this is going to be our video with reflections on the project.
Well, we did that a little bit with the credits, but... I told you this is my second favorite project thus far from CSS.
Oh, I know. Second to Advance Wars,
No. I said favorite, and I didn't do Advance Wars, and besides, Wind Waker is the best project anyway. And that's not even, that's just, it's the best.
No, Team Andy's better than Team, what do you call yourselves? Team Stupendous?
Team Eclipsical.
Eclipsical.
No, there was no Team Stupendous. Me, PK, and K-Man was Team Awesome, but there was no Team Stupendous.
Yeah.
We don't have a team name, we're Team Power Freak.
Team Power Freak. That's probably the best name of any name for a team in any project.
Probably. No, this has been fun. It's been enjoyable. It's been long and, you know, You've been like, this is the second, no, not even second. You've done like, this is a little different, but you did like Advance Wars, then Fire Emblem. So you've been doing these kind of long-winded strategy, repetitive games over and over again.
Yes, that seems to be that seems to be what I'm attracted to, I guess.
Oh, you killed me! You killed me!
Yep. Goodbye.
But I don't know. I feel like this has been a little bit more. I think we've managed to make it kind of interesting, maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, I don't know. I've enjoyed it. There've been pretty good moments.
I think the only non-strategy type game, if you want to call it non-strategy, is Halo Reach. Is the only one that I haven't.
Well,
was like
TTYD's an RPG. That's not really. I mean, there's strategy involved, but of course that was a group project overall.
It's kind of in the same vein. I kind of group them all together. RPG strategy, kind of group them all the same kind of way.
Oh no, that's just wrong. They're different.
Oh, they're different. Well, what's so different about the two?
Well, this one really isn't on the same vein as Advance Wars and Fire Emblem because it's a mystery dungeon game. This one actually you could probably argue is similar to a non-turn-based RPG, but it's dungeon crawler is basically what it is. But with the strategy games specifically, they are like Fire Emblem is different from an RPG, normal RPG, in that how you move the characters and also the fact that at least with Fire Emblem the characters can die, but there is a difference there. The one thing that most RPGs I argue have is, at least in terms of how we characterize genre. I know there was someone made a whole good point about that we shouldn't be categorizing genre the way we do with video games. That we don't categorize films based on techniques or ways that films are made. We categorize them based on thematic issues, and we don't do that for games. We say, oh, it's an RPG because of these mechanics, not in terms of the theme or what the game is trying to get across. But with the way we currently categorize games, I'd argue that RPGs specifically have to have a level system. That is why when anyone says, oh, Zelda's an RPG, I say it's not because it doesn't have a leveling system.
But couldn't you say that the hearts are like levels?
Well, you could argue that, but
you're not required to get the hearts, of course. But
yeah, well, but like you look at stuff like Fallout. Fallout is a Western RPG. The main thing it has compared to like that compares it to the Japanese, turn-based RPGs is the level-up system. Other than that, and then also you could consider the story and stuff, but other than that, the level-up system is the one thing that ties it together.
And there's that free kind of free world platforming too. Like Skyrim's got the same sort of thing going with that. The whole Elder Scrolls series is free roam.
And that's why I can understand when people say Zelda is an RPG, because it does kind of compare a little bit to stuff like that, but it doesn't have the level system necessarily, because, I mean, you could say the hearts, but Link's, and you could also argue getting the items could count as that, but Link's stats do not go up. You don't get stronger. Wow, that was a really weird cut. But yeah, PJ died.
Was.
But Link doesn't get stronger. He stays the same level for the whole time in terms of, well, though, to be fair, his sword does level up, but himself, he doesn't level up. So that.
I mean, however you characterize it, it seems to me that like with RPGs, like you hit a certain wall at points during different sections of the game where you can't advance. Like with Pokemon, like you have to get cut. You have to get a certain move or a certain item to advance. Like I see Zelda's kind of the same way.
Yeah,
you can't really get through the rest of the game unless you meet a specific requirement.
Well, I don't know if I'd say that's like specific to RPGs, but I see what you're saying there, and I'm not saying Zelda doesn't have. Yeah, I could see that.
Because I mean, to a greater degree, like let's describe Zero Isle West.
Well, yeah, I was about to interrupt you and say that. I'm like, Zero Isle West is.
Yeah, so this is a new area. We reduced to level 1.
Now,
but the difference here is you can bring teammates, like you see, but you cannot bring items. So it's kind of a fusion of some of the other ones.
Basically, besides North. North is kind of its own thing. Zero Island South is kind of the extreme. You can't bring any items, and you're level 1, and you can only have one partner. Zero Island East, you can bring a partner, and you can bring items. And here, you can bring a partner, but you can't bring items in your level 1. So it's kind of like, it's Zero Island South, but you can bring a partner, basically. I'm pretty sure that's all of it. So yeah, Zero Island South, East, and West are kind of all just different variations of the same formula, and then North does its own thing. It's like, I'm not doing that, I'm doing something different, guys.
Right. Yeah. But Skyrim is like, if you look at, if you're gonna put, no, not Skyrim, I'm not gonna use Skyrim. I played Fallout more than Skyrim, so.
But wait, I was gonna finish.
If you put,
hang on.
Okay.
The floors, there's 40 floors. You can find the Amber Tier at the end of the dungeon. There's a bunch of Pokemon that I'm not gonna list off, and then obviously you can't recommend any Pokemon. Now then, Skyrim.
Okay, sorry. But like,
we have to focus on the game, man. This is the last episode. Sorry. People want information.
Yeah, speaking of Pokemon, in the game Fallout.
Oh my, Fallout Pokemon would be interesting.
I've seen the Fallout Equestria thing. Like they have one for.
There's a ton of things I could say about stuff like that. I want to say
I don't read the fan fictions. I don't read the comics.
But I'm saying, okay, like people with the fandom, they've gone to the extreme of making a parody of everything with ponies. You don't see that with any other fandom. But that's the one thing that I'd argue with that whole thing. This is getting off topic, but being someone who's going in the creative medium, it's kind of also saddening to an extent because it's like, look, you guys have some of them do have great talent, and a lot of people use them to just make variations of other people's work.
Right.
I want to, we need to get to the point where we're not taking existing works and then just making them different. I mean, to an extent, that's fine because it allows for creativity and allows for adaptation and expanding upon the existing work. It's good in some extent, but we need to have more original work. We have a lot of creative minds, and I feel like to an extent they're still stuck in fandom mode as opposed to actually trying to go further.
And do you know about the Double Rainboom project?
I don't, but let's try and keep to one topic at a time.
Okay.
Let's finish your Fallout thing.
Yeah, we'll finish the Fallout thing. I mean, you look at Zelda, and like I brought up the point that there's. You can make an argument that it's more like an RPG than it is like a strategy, like an open world strategy game, because you have specific requirements you have to meet at specific points in the game. Whereas with Fallout, you could essentially, I mean, there's items that'll help you get through the game easier. You can get upgraded weapons. You could get better defense items, you can get different things, but there's not necessarily a hardline requirement. You have to do different tasks, quests, missions in Fallout to do certain things in the game. But to get through the story, I'm pretty sure with like Fallout, not New Vegas, what is it called? Fallout 3, you don't have to get a specific item to get through the game.
But I don't think that defines genre, though.
No, it's more an association rather than like solidifying a genre. It's like you'd associate that kind of play more with that side and less with that side. It's like it's like a different shade of the same color kind of thing.
Like I was saying earlier, we need to get to the point though that we're not categorizing. Like when we say, oh, this game's a platformer. Well, yeah, you jump in it. Why? We need to get to the point where we're saying, what do you play this game for, and categorize it by that. Because, like, for example, you think of movies, romantic comedy. You watch it for, the comedy and a little bit of the romance. Horror is horror. It's a genre. You go in knowing what you want from it, right?
Yeah.
With games, I mean, you have it more based on mechanics than, different RPGs can have different feelings. You can get something out of Fallout that you wouldn't get out of Final Fantasy. They're two different, pretty thematic things. Obviously, they're categorized by JRPG and RPG, but even then, or Western RPG, we need to get to the point where we're, I don't know. The more I hear and the more I kind of develop my own sense of where I'm going. I'm not going into game development. I'm going into animation. But I think the gaming medium really needs to evolve. It really is. As much as I can say it can be an art form, it is to an extent still kind of treated by both the curators, by media around it, and by the people who play it itself, treated more as a toy than anything else, as an actual medium for storytelling. And instead of trying to make it its own individual thing, now we have creators who are, while still treating it as a toy in terms of, playability and in terms of fun, they're also trying to input their storytelling of movies onto games.
Yeah.
And they need to do their own thing. Games need to tell stories in their own way without using the storytelling. You don't see books. Movies and books have two different ways of telling stories. Why are we suddenly saying that games should tell stories the same way movies do?
Yeah, I was about to bring up, like, that's funny, because then we bring up the criticisms of games like Uncharted, and what's that new game that we looked at on E3 that's coming up on PS3?
I can't.
It had that actress in it. Rain, something Rain, right?
No, not Rain. I know what you're saying, though. I can't remember what it is, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with those things. But the more, I mean, look, movies have been around since the 30s. You might say, oh, that hasn't been that long, but when you really think about it, it actually was. That was a long time ago, compared to now. And movies have had a long time to develop. With games, they really are still in their infancy. And there's just, the more I look at it, it's like, there was a really good video. Check it out. Extra Credits does a lot of really good videos. They mentioned how we still see games as being fun. As whenever we have a game, we had to figure out how to make the game fun. And we need to get away from that and more in terms of making it engaging. And people were arguing, saying, "Oh, well, I want games to be fun. I don't read books because they're not fun." No, here's the thing. You can have something that's depressing or sad and not be fun, but is enjoyable. You're still enjoying it. Like, there's people who go out and watch movies like Requiem for a Dream. It's not a fun movie, but it's enjoyable. Why? Because it's engaging. We need to stop using the word fun. We need to start using the word enjoyable and find ways to make games enjoyable by making them engaging and not focus on being fun, because some of the best games out there currently aren't necessarily fun. They're enjoyable for different reasons. I mean, for example, think about some of the indie games like Limbo. Limbo is a really unique game. It's not exactly fun. It's not unfun necessarily, but Limbo uses a lot of atmosphere, and it's not necessarily, you don't play it for fun and just random humor or anything, but the game is engaging. It is enjoyable, and the reason it's enjoyable is for reasons other than just being a toy. And I feel like, and I'm not saying, now, to be fair, I'm not saying suddenly get rid of all the fun games, get rid of all the toy games, because look, we still have comedies. We still have screwball comedies and movies. You can have everything. You can have the kitchen sink. You can have your cake and eat it too. But we need to expand. We need video games to develop into a medium that can be taken. I'm not saying like needs to be like this higher art form or anything, but I do think we need to evolve a little bit further. Video games do need to evolve a little bit more, because movies have these very artistic films. Movies have these very high-thinking films. Movies have not even just high-thinking films, but they also have comedy films that are just for random action movies. Sometimes movies that are between the two. There's just a variety of movies, and games don't have that variety yet. But I think they can. But we have to allow them to do that, I guess, is the main thing. Now, obviously I'm not going to be going into that field, but gaming is always a field that will be interesting to me, especially because we're seeing the development of a medium. It would be similar to people who saw movies develop during the 30s. It's just an interesting thing to see something develop. I mean, look at our technological advancements. It's really interesting to see how far we've come. Regardless of whether or not I'm interested in making games specifically, it's just interesting to watch. Anyway, PTM, what do you
Hello.
Sorry, I ranted.
The internet's in its infancy too. That surprises me, because video games have been around since the early 70s. So when we started having our first video games like Asteroid, and now we have the internet comes after that. I mean, there's something I learned in the HTML, some of the classes I've been taking at community college. The internet existed before the public had it. The internet was started with a more condensed version, the intranet. There's multiple intranets within bigger businesses. So the internet existed in the 80s, and the fact that video games predate that kind of confusing to me a little bit.
Yeah.
Because now everyone's all focused online gaming.
Well, that's another thing I just thought of that you kind of made me think of is, I mean, movies obviously had new technologies too, but I think we've kind of got obsessed with the technological advancement of games and stuff, as opposed to other developing. I mean, like I said, games need to be able to tell their own story and tell, and other aspects, be able to do stuff on their own without borrowing from movies and borrowing from other mediums. And whereas movies, even with the new technology, still is able to develop their own storytelling method. Same with books have their own storytelling method. We've been so focused on pumping up the games. Have three things. That they have the story, which has been on back burner, story and being able to engage the player. And then there's the actual gameplay mechanics that constantly change per game, which no other medium has due to the interactivity. And then there's the increasing technological advancements that no other medium has to nearly the extent that games do. Because, I mean, to an extent with movies with the CGI, but games have it to the nth degree because of realism and HD and all of this. We've been so focused on that, I think we've lost sight of... I think we've, to an extent, the people who make games, people who even make movies, have lost sight of the actual creating as opposed to just finding ways to make things look fancy. But I don't know. I'm probably just blowing steam.
Well, we'll see. You'll see how people comment and react to that. This is a good... Thanks for your insight, Mega, for our last video of the project.
I don't know. Not many people ever respond, so I just feel like Then again, this is a Mystery Dungeon video. We probably are like, why is this guy talking about stuff?
Why are we talking about the future of video gaming like this? What people need to focus on. Why are we focusing on this?
No, you're the one room orb. Why didn't you use it?
I do have it. I didn't use it.
You are horrible. Use it.
I'm a horrible person.
I wanted to see it be one room.
Well, maybe you guys can see it when you play your copy of Pokemon Mystery Dungeons.
Yeah, so I guess we could probably wrap up stuff a little bit now. This has been a good project. I know it's been long-winded. It's probably one of the longest. Technically, in terms of time, Fire Emblem is longer, but this one is definitely up there, and it's got more in the playlist than Fire Emblem. So this is definitely one of the longer projects. It has been a little bit repetitive, but I've enjoyed it. I hope you guys have too. I know some people are like, okay, why isn't it over yet? And I'm like, it's getting there. We promise.
It's here now.
Yeah. So
I'm kind of hoping I do something not like this. Like,
well, we have plans.
Yeah, we have options.
No, your next game is going to be.
It's not going to be a Zelda game.
It's going to be Radiant Dawn.
It's going to be what?
Radiant Dawn.
No. I haven't beaten that game yet. I still haven't tried to for a long time.
You're going to die to Golbat.
Okay, so this is PTM.
and Mega Freak 400, and thanks for watching Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Darkness. Until next time.
We'll kill more Poliwag.
Bye.